We're back to the Neil Haley Show, and only a few people from last year I interviewed this year. It's just a pleasure to have on the program Tami Jaffe. Tami, thanks for coming back on the show, and our topic is speed up our startup. And I love that fact, because here's the thing. I have run into people who are starting a podcast, and I consider that a startup in certain ways. Starting a coaching business, as you talked about offline, all these things, and they just have a great idea, but they're afraid to get started. That's the biggest problem.
Yes.
Am I right? And I'm dealing with coaching people for podcasting, but I do also business coach. I do a monicum of different types of coaching, social media, whatever. But always when it's starting something new, it takes them so much time to get started. Isn't that one of the biggest things you're seeing?
It is one of the biggest things, because when you start something new, you don't know what you should be doing. You don't know how you should be doing it. And you've got all that fear, like you said, that's just resisting you from getting out there and doing what you actually need to do. So you fight it yourself.
Exactly. Fighting it yourself, but that's just, it's part of life. So, and I think that I don't have that problem. I've got done. So I would say my goal, I'm a 6-figure type business owner. I want to be a 7, 8, 9. And that means that it can't be no longer a solopreneur, but I've done 2 to 3 successful solopreneur start companies that I've done. And it's been easy for me, but a lot of people, it's the getting started part. So how can we speed up that process? Especially we're almost to the end of the year, and someone said, hey, I'm starting a coaching business right now. I just retired from my company, or you know what? I just got laid off, and I know I have the greatest expertise and I can help people. So there's all these different things. What's the first step?
The first step is getting clarity around what exactly it is you're going to be doing. What is the problem you're solving for the people you want to work with? Because so many times we try to come out with like this big, broad message. And so narrowing down, what is it, the problem you're solving for people? Who are the people you're serving, so that you can speak directly to them? Because when you try to speak to everybody, it doesn't land with anybody. So nobody gets the message. And you want to walk away from a conversation with people going, oh my God, I know exactly who you need to talk to. Or, oh my God, I need to talk to them because I'm going through that. I know they could help me through this. So one is getting that clarity around that messaging, around who your ideal clients are, around who it is you're serving, around who can help you get there the fastest. So looking for those mentors that have been through that themselves, because as you grow your clarity, as you get an understanding for it, then that confidence, which is your faith and belief, right? Your faith and belief that you can do this, and that courage to take those first steps, you'll start to be able to do those things, right? You'll start to be able to take the first step, and that fear, you'll be able to overcome it because you have direction.
But see, that's so amazing you talk about clarity, because everyone has their goals. They put down their plan, they put it all together, but they're not clear in what their mission, their vision, and how they want to do with their company, right? Absolutely. They have these goals and this delusion, these ideas, yet the implementation of starting from point A to get to point Z, it's not there.
Exactly. And you don't have to have A to Z figured out first, right? You just need to know A to B first.
You get that first customer, that first client. That's all you need to do. Is once you get that first one, it's easier to get the second one. After the second one, it doubles. And that's the thing. And even for book authors that are selling books, the same thing. But how do I get the book launched? Once I have the book launched, what do I do next? And do you have a specific process? So what tips would you like to give our listeners of Jumpstart starting it?
So I would say, if you want to get a jump start on your business, take a look at where you're at right now. Like, what is the thing that's holding you back? What is that? Maybe it's a fear that's getting in the way. Maybe it's that not knowing what you need to do next. So first, just start off with stopping and taking a look. What do I need direction with? What questions do I need to get answered? Because a lot of times we're asking the wrong questions and we're not moving forward because we don't have the right answer. So first you got to get clear. What are those things that you need clarity on, right? Just even knowing what those things are. And then once you're clear on those, get the support and direction to help you take the right steps. Because I see way too many startups getting caught up in those bright, shiny objects. You know what I mean, Neil? Right? Those like advertisements out there that are like, I'm going to help you make $1 million. I've got the one tip that's going to, get you an abundant number of leads. And the problem is people sign up for all these programs and these things, and they still don't even know what their core message is. They don't know what they're doing. And they get halfway through these programs and they're like, I can't implement any of this because I haven't put the foundations in place first. So there's a time and a place for all of those things. I'm not saying they're, hoaxes or anything, but for startups, they're typically not right because they're typically for people who are more advanced.
Yes, most definitely. And so, so doing that, putting that together is the first step. Once you are moving each step by step, it becomes easier, right?
Absolutely. Yep. Get clear on that first step. Once you take that step, you'll start to see what is that next step for me. You'll see what's working.
So the next step is hard because it's different for everybody, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, right? You can't just follow what everyone else is doing because
Right.
it is different for everybody.
So for example, if you're a company that your clientele base is at networking events, sorry, you don't go on social media if it's not can convert. You're there, but you're not there putting all these effort. Well, I'll go on TikTok. Well, are your customers on TikTok or are your clients on TikTok? It could be as simple as starting a podcast and you could find your clients just through your podcast, or you could find them. So there's just so many different ways and you just don't know. It could be for Facebook ads. It could be through email marketing. It could just be by just knocking on doors. We just don't know until we put a plan in place, right? So you're saying you take those steps, you put that action plan in place, and what speeds it up after step one?
What speeds it up is the consistency. You've got to be consistent with the actions that are getting you results to get that momentum going, right? To get that snowball effect. Because if, it's funny you brought up TikTok because I was just having this conversation this weekend with someone who's like, oh, I know this, relationship coach that's getting these amazing results on TikTok. And I'm like, well, but your people are so different than their people.
Right.
It doesn't mean you can't try it, but you're saying you're getting great results on Instagram. Let's stick with that.
Stay where it goes. Don't stop going to doing what you need to be doing. That's the biggest thing. Rinse and repeat. What works, doesn't work, throw it out the window. I think that part of the brand building is you're on those platforms. You're not spending tons of time on those platforms, but at least you're seen on those platforms. And you might, because you want to, because people make a decision, being on social media, having an email list, all these things. But what's your bread and butter to get business? That's the time you spend most with. You should have those things because people, once they make that decision, look at all those things. Absolutely. But they don't look at but they look at results. At the end of the day, if your business doesn't bring people results, are you going to have business?
No, you will be one of those 90% of businesses that go out of business, right? So you've got to be doing the right things to get you those results. Absolutely.
And those results are based on what you define to your clients. And that's another thing you teach in business coaching, right? Is that the results have to define what you've defined to that client. And you have to really understand that. And it could be as simple as, hey, I just presented it on this stage and you did a heck of a job. I want to hire you again. That's a result. You did exactly what you expected. And I think that at the end of the day, each step when you're forming that business, is it going to reach the overall goal that you wanted? Because if it didn't, then talking to someone like you is going to be what they need to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned goals. I mean, so many times people start and they don't even have a goal. They haven't defined what it is. They are not specific about what it is.
I see it all the time, just in the moment. It's amazing because it's taking a risk. And if you're an entrepreneur, or we define a business owner or a solopreneur, tons of different things, you have to take risks.
Yes.
No risk, no reward. Best place we can find info on you, Tami. Where can we go?
You can go to tamijaffe.com to find more information.
All right, Tami, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the show, and I don't know if I'll see you again next year, but if I do, I'll hope to see you next year. But I'm sure I'm going to see you on some social media platform somewhere. I'm making a goal of everyone I've interviewed in the next 2 days to connect on social media, and hopefully they connect with me on Clubhouse because I do spend some of my time on Clubhouse. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, bye-bye. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show. We'll be back in just a moment.